I do want to show you because I haven't been able to show anyone this. So I'm going to show you it because this will be out by then.
Hello and welcome to episode 16 of my podcast, Tom Sits Into Conversation With. This week on the episode I have Tessa from Designs. She is a crocheter and designer, and it was a really, really good conversation. Sitting outside now to do the introduction on Monday, and it's just lovely and sunny, so you might hear a bit of background of trucks and cars and stuff going by, but I thought it would be quite nice to sit outside. Yeah, we recorded this conversation back in February and it was a really good conversation. We talk about what it's like living in a small town in the US and the kind of complications that come along with that when you go to markets or even just grocery shopping. How she turned her hobby into a full-time job. We talk about how she got into crochet. We talk a bit about doing markets and the struggles of doing a market in a small town where you have to travel quite a lot, and then also this was during COVID times as well, so are you trying to get the camera? We also talk about doing online markets because at the time it was height of COVID. Near the end of the conversation I was very lucky enough to see a new pattern that she'd just been working on. No one had seen it yet, but it is now out. It was the February edition to her monthly patterns that she's been writing up. I'll pop back in the middle of the episode with a little update from Tessa, and I'll be back at the end with a little bit more of an update from me. But for now, we step into the conversation with me asking where she's from.
I live in Oregon in the USA, and I live in a tiny town of only 500 people.
Wow.
So I live a kind of rural life. I'm even outside of that town with our little acreage. And so it's fun to have no neighbors. Our animals can roam, and we roam freely too, and just make our own little walking paths. We built a little disc golf course around my house, so we have 7 holes. We can disc golf around.
Amazing. I think I've
Yeah.
recently you've been like sharing a lot of like really nice hiking photos.
Yeah, my brother is here from South Dakota. That's where I'm originally from. And so he is an avid hiker. So we have been hiking every single day. And we've gone from like desert area landscape to like rainforest and waterfalls. Oregon and Washington have it all. So it's been beautiful.
That's really cool. Yeah, the photos that you've been posting on your stories, they look stunning. Like the scenery looks beautiful.
Yeah, it truly is. And the pictures, I swear, don't do it justice.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It is magical.
Like, yeah, I can imagine being there in person is like 100 times better, but the photos look pretty good as they are.
Yeah.
So
thank you. Yeah.
How is it being in such a small town then?
It's been an adjustment, but I've been here 8 years now. It's quiet. It's a very slow pace of life. My closest grocery store, like we have a small grocery store in town, but if I want to do my real shopping, I have to drive about 48 miles east or west to go get groceries. So it's like an ordeal. We go once a month and stock up our groceries for that month, and then if we need little things here and there, we can pop into our little mom and pop shop. But yeah,
how far away is the like little shop as well though?
I am 2 miles outside of town, so it's just about 2 miles.
Okay. It's the thing that like I think a lot of English people don't quite comprehend is the scale of like America and kind of like most other countries really. It's like for us, like an hour drive is quite a long drive, but I guess for you guys it's not far at all.
Nope, it's not far at all. It's very normal and natural to be commuting to work. I used to work at an elementary school, which was 35 miles from me, and but it's all interstate driving. I'm not in traffic. It is from my house to there was like 28 minutes, and it was 35 miles. Like I could make it that quick.
Okay,
I'm also very lucky. I live on the Columbia River, which is a monster of a river. And the interstate just follows it along. So it's such a beautiful drive anywhere I go, either way.
Yeah, I guess if it's next to a river as well, it's quite like nice and flat as well. So that's probably quite nice.
Yep,
Nice.
that's helpful too. It's not a bunch of mountains or anything. It's pretty flat and but it's still very scenic.
That's cool. So what do you do for
Yeah.
work then?
I am now a full-time maker, full-time crocheter and designer. I've been full-time for about a year and a half. Um, so I feel very lucky. I walk from one end of my house, from my bedroom to my studio at the other end of the house, and this is where my magic happens.
That's amazing. That's so cool. So when
Yeah.
did you get to become a full-time crafter? Like when did that transition happen?
Basically, it's hard to find a job in a 500-person town. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of options. I loved my job at the elementary school. I was the head secretary, so I basically ran this school, kindergarten through third grade, and I loved it. They threw some promotions at me, and moving up the ladder, I went to the district office, and there's no passion there, and I wasn't with the kids anymore, so that wasn't fun. So I tried out our little local bank here, and that just wasn't doing it for me. And that it felt like it was just time to try T-Zines full time. Like, why not? Why not now? So it just kind of transitioned that way.
That's really cool. So how long have you
hmm
been kind of crafting for? And like how did you get into crochet?
Yeah, I have been drawing um, my entire life. Like, just art has always been a part of my life, as well as my family. Most of my family are artists of some sort. Some of them full time too. And then I started into jewelry making in like my early teens. And then I learned to crochet when I was 19. I learned a few times growing up, but it just never stuck. I didn't care enough about it. And then I finally cared about it when I was like 19, 20. So I'm on 14, 15 years now of crocheting probably every day. It's such a relaxation. You know how it is to get your yarn and hook in your hands. And so I haven't put it down.
Yeah, that's so cool. I think it's kind of like one of the dreams, isn't it, of like being able
Mhm.
to start. But how have you found it? Have you found it challenging, or have you just enjoyed every minute of it?
I've enjoyed every minute of it for sure. The challenging part is just learning the business side and like how to track my business and am I selling myself, overselling? I don't want to be a seller. How to market yourself and then to even how to pay myself accurately, like fairly for me and my customers has probably been one of the hardest parts. Um, But I'm lucky that my husband has a really good job, and so my income is kind of just the extra, you know. So
Hmm.
that's been helpful
Yeah,
to
I guess it
just
kind of
not have to
helps.
super rely.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it kind of takes the pressure off a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit, but I've been working since I was 14 years old, so this has even just been mentally a really hard transition for me. Like, who do I think I am that I can crochet all day and make a living? So that's been something I've really had to work through. But um,
Yeah, I guess kind of working through the thing that's been a hobby and
yeah.
it's like a meditation kind of thing, and then
Mhm.
I guess you've got to switch that in your head of like this is now my way of making an income. Like it can still be
Yes.
that kind of relaxing thing, but I guess there's something that you've got to actually think about of like this is actually hopefully going to be paying the bills.
Very true. And of course, I was always nervous that if I turn this into a job, am I gonna learn to hate it? Is it not going to be fun or be that meditation, that relaxation anymore? But I've been lucky to just know when to take a break, know when to not take something so seriously, or I still have had some sleepless nights where I'm thinking about crochet or podcast interviews in the middle of the
Yeah,
night, but it's it's just been a different way of thinking, and it's actually all has been great. I would not change it for the world.
that's awesome. That's really, really nice to hear because it's something that, during this kind of lockdown, I've been working on my knitting and like I've now started this podcast and it's something that in a way I would quite like to do it full time, but at the same time
Mhm.
I do love my job and I love making coffee and I love making food. So I'm hoping one day I can have a nice balance between the two. But
Yeah. So is that your full-time job, making coffee and food?
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
years ago, I had my own cafe, which did okay for a little bit, but then the town it was in just wasn't supporting independence, and a lot of the
Mhm.
trade was moving outside the town. Just like there's a big like shopping center, um, so I kind of ended up getting out there, but not without accumulating a lot of debt, which is pretty much paid. Well, yeah, it's paid off now, which is it's been a long
Yeah.
time, but um, so yeah, I'm quite happy working for someone else now.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily see myself working for myself again, just because
Hmm.
for me that stress has just been was just too much. Um, but yeah, like I love making food. I love making coffee. It's just something I've been passionate about
Hmm.
since I was 16 when I started.
Awesome. I also worked in the restaurant and industry. I managed a restaurant before, and that was the most pressure I've had. That is very hard. But I enjoy cooking. I love cooking. That's my other pastime and my love as well. So when you started your little cooking teasers, I got really excited to watch some of those videos and see what you do with that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's written really cool. Like I've been trying to do a few coffee and cooking videos. I've got some other
Hmm.
some cooking videos in my head. It's just trying to find the time. But
Hmm.
I'm very fortunate that I'm working with a local art gallery and museum um, who want to do like a historic cooking thing. Um,
Oh,
so we're going to try and do one every 2 months. But the idea is trying to find a recipe from history and then recreate the recipe from history and then make a modern version. Um,
oh, I love that.
and we're trying to like the one that we're going to be developing now, which when this comes out should be out already. We want to try and make a vegan friendly version as well, so it's more inclusive to people. So
Hmm.
yeah, I love being creative and just doing as many things as I can really.
Yeah, very cool. And you can be so creative with food.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. So how did you get into? Did you just kind of like start picking up a needle, or did you have someone kind of teaching you how to crochet?
Yeah, my grandma actually crochets. She's legally blind. She can like her vision is basically tunnel vision, you know.
Hmm.
And it's been her entire life. So she's never drove a car, she's never rode a bike, she hasn't done a lot of the basic things we do every day. And but she can do crocheting and she does tatting. Have you ever heard of tatting?
No.
So it's a shuttle. It's basically about this big and it's a shuttle with the tiniest hook on the end and it's using the smallest, finest thread. Oh, well, here, let me show you one little thing she did. Oh, this one isn't even the smallest, but this right here is just a tatted doily.
Wow.
So it's, you know, the size of my palm. But she counts all of these by feeling. She can't see them very well.
Hmm.
She does it all by feeling. So anyway, it's pretty amazing what she can still do because she does a lot of native beadwork and stuff too. But she taught my mom, and then my mom taught me, and between us three, we talk about it anytime we're on the phone, and we all still do it too.
That's really cool. That's amazing that she can't really see very well, but is doing the most
Hmm.
delicate, intricate kind of thing.
Yes, it's wild. I sometimes she'll bring her big magnifying glass out to try to help, but most of it I can see her just counting in her head and using her fingers.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
quite impressive.
it is.
What's your kind of favorite project that you've kind of worked on?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I used to kind of crochet for the people, you know, crochet for the masses, whatever they wanted me to make, I would make. And I feel like I've really transitioned into what do I want to make? And I don't know, a lot of my kind of free form art hangings, if I can just pop this up here. This is one of my unique kind of free form pieces that I didn't follow a pattern. I just kind of went with what felt like. It actually came to me in a meditation, what I was seeing, and then the colors and everything, I just had to make it happen. So This one is definitely one of my favorite pieces.
I see that you do a lot of like pattern writing. So is that your main business? Is it kind of pattern writing, or is it just crocheting things to sell?
Yeah, so I've been transitioning into being more of a pattern designer now, and that's new within probably just the last 6 months that that's going to be my focus. I'm really not making as much as I used to. I'm kind of shutting down custom orders because that just is a whole scheme of things that that goes into that. But I kind of want to focus on my authentic designs, what comes from me, because I feel like that showcases my work the best and who I am as designs. So pattern designing is definitely where I'm going and what I plan to do, and that'll be my main income.
That's really cool. Because I noticed like you do quite a lot of hats, and I really quite like your kind
Hmm.
of like vote hat as well that you've done because you
Yep.
know a lot of stuff was going on in America, and it was very important for people to actually vote and try and get a better person in office.
Yes. Yeah, that pattern did really well. I donated a lot of that money, and it was neat to see how many people were wearing them and making them, and I was very passionate about that one.
That's really cool. Yeah, I think
Hmm.
it is quite important to like try and get. I think there's a massive surge in like younger people crocheting and knitting and stuff. It's not necessary for older people, and it's kind of important as well to try and get this generation as well to get more excited about voting and
Yeah.
having a say in, because it is our world, and like we're the one who are kind of like shaping it a bit more. So
Yep. Absolutely. I agree.
yeah,
It's nice to be able to use, our artwork can speak to masses, and you might as well use it to do that.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, artwork can say a lot, and
Hmm.
I think it's quite powerful as well if you had like a bunch of people wearing that vote hat. That
Hmm.
is going to spread a much kinder message than like if you just stood on the side of the street and just shouted at people to vote. Like you wearing that hat walking down the street
Yeah.
is you will probably make people think a little bit more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. Very true. I agree.
So talk me through your pattern writing process, because it's something I really want to get into pattern writing, but
Mhm.
I'm scared about the process.
I think we all have that fear at the beginning. I've had so many patterns that I have been making, and but I just never knew how do I put this onto paper. Basically, where I started was I found some patterns that I really enjoyed. I liked the layout. I liked how they were wrote. They were easy to follow for me, and then I that kind of made me develop my kind of writing style. But the designing part, I I write everything down. My entire phone, my notes and my phone is full of half wrote patterns because if I don't write it down, I more than likely won't remember how to get back to that stage. Um, so I just kind of shorthand what I'm doing, and then if I like it when I'm done, then I'll head over to my computer and write it out as if it were a full pattern. Um, I think I've gotten better over time, and having pattern testers is the most amazing things ever because they catch all those things that I just look right over because I read through my pattern probably 100 times before I send it on. But yeah, it just kind of comes, I think, when you're ready for it. And I think my biggest tip is find some patterns that you like, and you can kind of look at them and see why do you like them, and transition it into your style.
Yeah, that's cool. It's
Mhm.
something. Yeah, because I don't do a lot of pattern reading. I
Mhm.
like to improvise a lot more, which I think is why writing patterns is so intimidating. But I've talked to some amazing knitters and crocheters who do pattern designs, and it's something I think if I do want to try and make a bit of an income from my knitting, it's something that I kind of need to look in doing, because
Mhm.
I would say the majority of my audience are crafters themselves. So I think a lot of people might be put off buying a hat when they could just make it themselves.
Yeah, very true. Um, that's kind of how I thought too, you know. I was like, if I want to make this full time, then I think that's the way to go. And it is, I think it is even more rewarding seeing people make my patterns than it is seeing them buy mine and wear them.
Yeah,
I, because then they put their own spin on it, and it's just another creativity and creative outlet coming from someone else, and I love it.
that's really cool. Do you have a set like group of people that you normally get to test your patterns, or does it change depending on the design that you're doing?
I have a couple people that I just either adore their color choices or their just how their final product comes out. I have a couple people that I adore their pictures. They're great even to use in my pattern or for promoting. And then of course I love to support them. And then I usually like to do an open tester call. It's fun to get people from all over. Um, Especially people who maybe don't know my writing style. It's nice to have a new set of eyes. I have a free pattern. It's called the Cascade Slouch, and it's my most popular beanie that I've ever made and sold in the last 6 years. And that one, I decided to just go ahead and say yes to all the people that applied, and it was 27 people.
Wow.
And so that was kind of a feat to keep track of everybody, but it was a really fun group text on Instagram. And then I just it's hard to say no to people, and I'm like, this is going to be a free pattern anyway. Let's just do it. So that was fun. But normally I choose between 4 to 6 or 7 people to test.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I spoke to Asramati on Instagram, and she said that
Hmm.
she had, like, for one of her patterns, she had like a big group of people who tried to do
Yeah.
it, and it's just really hard to try and keep on top of everyone, and especially if you're trying to work through a time scale as well. Like, how long does it take you to
Hmm.
develop a pattern from initial concept in your head to being a pattern that people can buy?
Yeah, that speaking of Ezra Matti, I'm wearing one of the sweaters that she designed, and I got to be a pattern tester, so we'll have to give her a little shout out.
Awesome.
um that all depends. There's some things I can make and design and sit down and type out in 2 days. And now that I have kind of my pattern template and I know what I need to fill in, I can write up my patterns pretty quick because I'm just kind of copying and pasting and filling in and changing, just tweaking things. But then others take, a couple weeks or more. I don't do big garments such as like clothing, which would take a lot more math and time and testing. I mainly do small winter wear accessories. So my time is definitely less than others.
That's cool. So do you just have the concept and have like you can now have like a formula, or do you actually work the design out first and that like make notes as you go along, or do you just do it all in your head?
I think I do just kind of make notes as I go. I I've recently, so I got an iPad for Christmas and I got the app Procreate, which is all digital art and drawing. And so my pattern writing has totally transitioned because lately I have these visions in my head a lot. I never got them down to be able to work them out. And now that I have this iPad, I almost draw my patterns first, like the conceptual idea, and then I go to and touch the yarn and start trying to make it happen. So that has been a cool change in process for me.
Nice, yeah, because I remember seeing the post of your
Yep.
mittens that you kind of drew up, and they look awesome.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, I've tried using Procreate because my girlfriend has it, and she's an amazing like digital drawer and
Hmm.
stuff. I struggle so much with doing digital drawing. I think I prefer the feel of paper to pen,
Hmm.
pen to paper, that way around. Um, But like I really admire people who can draw digitally as well.
Yeah, it's been new for me. I've never done it. Well, in the sense of drawing with my finger. I went to school for graphic design, so I have done graphics and digital art for a long time, but it hadn't been specifically drawing like that. So that is a new
Yeah.
sensation, but I love it.
Yeah, I think it's something that I want to try more with, but
Hmm.
it's just finding time. Like
I know.
even
Another
even
hobby.
being furloughed and yeah, and not working, like there's just not enough time for all the projects I want to do.
Yes. I feel you there.
What kind of yarn do you like to use?
Because I'm so rural and I don't have a lot of options, I'm kind of a big store buyer, I'm Lion brand has my heart. Specifically the Heartland yarn. I don't know if you know the story behind it, but it's called Lion Brand Heartland, and it was designed and created based the color line and everything based on our national parks in the U.S. So each yarn has the name of a natural wonder. Like there's redwoods, there's Yosemite, there's Yellowstone, and a percentage of those proceeds are given back to our parks. So that is what my entire Cascade collection has been designed around. It's called
Sweet.
the Cascade Collection based on the Cascade Mountain Range here in Oregon and Washington. And so it just felt so fitting. And I, with my love of hiking and nature, it just feels fitting to me personally too. So
That's
I've
really cool.
really grown to love that yarn.
I mean, it looks like a really nice yarn to work with as well.
Yeah, it's smooth and soft. It has a little bit of a sheen. I would say the weight runs a little small. So
Mm.
I find people, may have some sizing issues, but if it just adjusting your hook or your tension is all you got to do, and it works up really well.
That's cool. Have you
Hmm.
ever done any like markets or like in-person kind of fairs and stuff?
Yeah, I have been doing markets and vendings and being a vendor since I was probably in my early 20s. When I learned to crochet, my mom was just as addicted in crocheting too. So her and I would get together and do shows together, and I love it. That's probably one of my second favorite things ever is selling at markets. I'm a social bug. I love to talk, and I can talk to almost anybody. So being at markets and letting people touch and feel and try on my makes is so rewarding, and to see them walk away with smiles and watch them walk around the whole market wearing my stuff after they just bought it was a really good feeling. So yeah, that's been the hardest part about 2020 is I had about 6 markets planned and didn't get to do any of them.
Yeah, it's such a shame that
Hmm.
like we've not been able to do markets. I tried to do an online market for Christmas, and for me, it just didn't work. There was,
Hmm.
I think, in total 40 vendors on for the weekend. The website was okay, but
Hmm.
with 40 people, you've got to do a lot of scrolling to find what you want. But if you're there,
Yeah.
I'm also quite a social person. Like working in cafes and restaurants, I'm quite good at talking to people, and
Hmm.
I'm not shy of if people are walking past. I'm happy to say hi. How are you doing? Because it's
Hmm.
just as simple as just saying hi to someone can like get a sale or just start
Yeah.
conversation. So um, yeah, I'm looking forward to when this craziness is able to stop and we're able to go out and see people again and hopefully do markets
Hmm.
and stuff.
Yeah, I did have a success. I did an online market on my business Facebook page, through Tezines on Facebook. And there's this software, it's called Comment Sold. And I did a trial through it. And so basically I would grab my item, I would show my item, and I said, if you want this mitten, comment sold. This was number 100. And so it was all based on their comments through the live that I did. And I made about what I did at a market in a weekend.
That's
And
really cool.
it ended up being almost 3 hours because they were like, just keep going, keep going. So I kept going through all my stuff. And so that felt awesome because I was able to do it in my living room. I didn't have to pay for a night at the hotel or pay for the booth. It was just right from my living room. So depending on how this year goes, and maybe as we get to the holidays, if we still aren't out able to do those live in person markets, I might just try that again.
Yeah. I guess I didn't even think about like if you've got to do a market, you've got the added cost of trying to get a hotel and
Yes.
the drive is obviously longer.
The
Wow.
gas, the setting up, yeah, all of that. I actually saved, about $400
Jeez. Yeah.
just doing it from my house.
Yeah, which could also just be your main kind of profit. Like it could be
hmm
the difference of having a good weekend or a bad weekend. Wow. That's
Yeah,
astonishing.
I guess I probably paid about half that in shipping the items then.
I hope that you're enjoying the podcast so far. Here is a little update from Tessa.
Hi, I'm Tessa from Designs. I was going to give you a little update after talking to Tom from Knit Slips a couple months ago. I've now moved on to a spring and summer collection. It's called the Sage collection. It features these little leaf details and a little lace and picots on the edges here. So far I have created a purse, a placemat and table runner, as well as this head wrap that is customizable for adult, child, or toddler size, as well as different widths. You tie it up with a cute little knot on your head, and it's such a fun little addition to your summer wardrobe. I'm also releasing my first garment design, which is what you see here. This is the Sage Summer Dream. It also is customizable to your body type, as well as different lengths. I hope you enjoy listening to Tom and I talk about my crochet journey, and reach out anytime. Thank you.
Thank you, Tessa, for that little update. We now sit back into the conversation where she's just told me that she's planning on writing a pattern for every month, and I was very impressed.
It seems like a big task, but for how many patterns I just have that I haven't ever put out because I didn't have that confidence, or I didn't know if they were good enough and all these things. It's not as much of a challenge as I thought.
I guess
I have like six.
the challenge is probably keeping the patterns back a little bit and holding them back rather than releasing like 2 in a month or something.
Yes, that's exactly my issue right now. Is I have about 6 that are practically done. Like besides needing my testers to go through it once. So now I'm just kind of sitting here like, okay, now what? So that's where I'm gonna have a few free patterns pop in to kind of fill my void here. I'm gonna try to put out about an additional 4 to 5 free patterns that are all earth friendly. Between a little market bag, I thought about doing some cotton kind of loofahs. I love the loofah. A loofah,
Yeah.
scrubbing loofah. I want to kind of crochet a funky little design like that. That's cotton, so it's reusable, and you can just wash it up. And then one that I haven't talked about is a straw cozy. So I made this long little cozy that holds 2 reusable straws. You have to have 2 because there's one for you and one for your friend, because your friend's going to forget their reusable straw.
Yeah.
So it's nice that I carry it in my purse everywhere and I use that everywhere. So I want to be able to get out some patterns like that.
Like
for
actual
free.
practical stuff that people are going to use.
Yes.
Quite often, yeah. That's cool.
Yes.
Nice.
So that will be a little filler that I'll drop in the middle of the month or something if I just need some sort of spark.
Yeah. So do you have like a projection of how you want your patterns to go, or how are you working it?
Yeah, I love winter wear, and that's kind of my main designs. But guess what? We got spring and summer coming. So I'm kind of trying to transition and think of something that I could do for that time. I did just do a poll for my February pattern. I asked if people want to see a scarf or an ear warmer, and they said ear warmer. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And I think I'll do polls like that every once in a while. But I think I'll just kind of transition my patterns with the seasons. So I'll save some of these winter designs for winter. And I'm trying to come up with some kind of summery things that can also be used in the winter as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a very good way of doing it. I mean, I think you used to do kind of crop tops and stuff like that, which is quite summery as well. So I guess
Yeah,
that.
and those weren't really my own designs. Those were me making what I thought was gorgeous and shiny at the time, and those did very well too. But I did a lot of tests and uh, yeah, crop tops are fun. Summer clothes are really fun.
That's cool. What do you like to listen to or watch when you're creating?
Yeah, so besides yarn, my other like ultimate love is music. I go to endless concerts. Our hallway is full of concert posters that we've been to, and that's kind of what we base our travels around is concerts and music. So I have Spotify running almost all day long, but I like to take breaks, and I love podcasts. I love podcasts. I love YouTube videos. I love watching interviews specifically, whether it's fiber related or anything. I just listened to Scott Kelly, about one of the astronauts who went to the moon. So I try, if I'm not listening to music, I try to actually learn something, to spend time listening to something I want to learn about, or yeah. And every once in a while, I'll throw in some Netflix, but not as much.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's cool. What's your kind of favorite podcast at the moment?
Um, I've been diving deep into Joe Rogan lately. I like his interviews, his interview style, and the people he talks to. Um, but then I listen to a lot of kind of mindfulness podcasts too. Um, yeah, I listen to a lot of a lot of mindfulness stuff about crystals or positive affirmation kind of stuff, and then interviews. Yes.
If someone's watching this and they've kind of wanted to have a go at crochet, um, but don't know where to start, which of your patterns do you think is a nice beginner friendly pattern?
Yeah, I think my patterns are kind of an intermediate pattern. I don't have something that's super, super basic. My Cascade Slouch, which is my free pattern, I like to always offer that to people first because I think that gives an idea of what kind of stitch work I like to use. My Cascade Slouch has kind of been the pioneer of all my other Cascade designs. They all kind of have the same stitch and the same feel. But there are some more complicated stitches in my patterns. My goal is to develop some more beginner friendly patterns because I'd like to be able to start there and let people kind of transition their way through.
I think one of the things I remember seeing, I don't know if it's one of your patterns or something that you did, was like a crochet bag that you
Mm.
did. That
Oh,
was really
my
cool.
backpack.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that is my own design. That I called the Gorge backpack. It was named after the Columbia River Gorge. A friend actually came to me and wanted me to make a bag for her friend who was having twin babies, and so we thought a backpack would be nice to be able to have the full straps, and so I found the coolest faux leather set of straps, the bottom base, and then it has a little cinch tie cord, and it was only like $14, so I grabbed that, and then I knew I had to find some durable yarn that would last, and I chose that Bernat Maker Home Deck is called. They've kind of been in and out of selling it. I think they're getting new color line is what I heard. But and then the next step of that was to find a very durable stitch. And I used what's called the waistcoat stitch. It looks like a knit stitch, but it's actually made with crochet. And yeah, that design is one of my favorites. My backpack, I've been wearing it for since that came out, so about a year and a half, and it's held up very well. It looks kind of rugged, but
That's cool.
it's cool. I love that design. Yes.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I love the leather straps, and
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't actually, because I thought it looked kind of crochet, but yeah, actually looking a little bit closer, it does look a little bit like a knit stitch.
Yeah. Yeah. They call it the waistcoat stitch, and some people do call it the knit stitch, but it's just a different placement of the hook and where the V sits. It's pretty cool.
That's
It's
cool.
very durable. It doesn't stretch at all, so it just really keeps it's thick. It keeps its shape really well.
That's cool. Have you tried knitting,
Mhm.
or are you just a crocheter?
Oh gosh, I tried it one time in the back seat when we were driving somewhere. My friend showed me, and I actually, was able to maneuver it around, but it just didn't click. And I have a few set of knitting needles because I'm so inspired by all the knitters out there. And that was one thing I told myself for 2021. I want to practice and see if I could do that as well. Um, yeah, it looks so amazing. It's just the whole concept of it is going to be interesting to
See, I'm
put in my
exactly the
fingers.
same with crochet. Like
Yeah.
I've seen people, like I've been able to do a little bit of crochet, and I've seen people do it,
Mhm.
and I'm just in awe of people who can do it, because it just looks like magic. Just the way that, like, especially when people do it really quickly and they're just like, "Da-da-da-da-da," and I was like,
Mhm.
how?
I think the same with knitting. I don't know how you guys have all those stitches on your needles and how it all comes together. And I feel the same. It is magic.
That's awesome. I think I've kind of covered most of the things that I had on my list. I mean, is there anything else that you want to
Mhm.
like talk about or push at all?
I do want to show you because I haven't been able to show anyone this because it's the February pattern. So I'm going to show you it because this will be out by then.
Yep.
Um, so this is the ear warmer that's coming out. I'm super excited about it. It has that my same kind of cascade stitch that is through all my other cascade collection. But the exciting thing about this one is it's fur on the inside.
That's so cool. Is that also crocheted, or is that like a fur
Yes.
fabric?
Nope. This is also crocheted. So you can kind of see the lines
Yeah, just
of me
about.
going
Yeah.
back and forth. Yes. But it's a faux fur from Line Brand also. It's super thick and super bulky. So this is a nice thick piece that's gonna keep you warm. I wanted to make an ear warmer pattern. I was out hiking and I could kind of feel the wind going through my stitches. And so I was like, I have to be able to create a double layer. And I had this faux fur sitting around and it was worked out perfect. So this will be my February pattern. I'm very excited about that. I haven't shown anyone
That's so
because
cool.
I was keeping it a secret. So
Yep.
you're the
But by the
first to
time
see.
by the time this comes out, you'll all be able to get the
Yeah.
pattern. So how did you make
Yes.
that? Did you do two things and then bring them together, or is there a technique of?
Yes. So this was kind of funky. I did it in a kind of funky way because I wanted it to be able to have some good stretch still. So this one I actually start and I work this way. I work the width and I make the big long piece with this yarn. And then I attach the fur around the length and then work this way with the fur. It helped give it keep the stretch because that was what I was worried about, and it worked out perfectly.
That's really cool. I guess it
So,
also helps keep the kind of stitches going opposite ways in a way to try and help stop the wind getting through you.
yep, yep, that's exactly what I thought too. Is if I have stitches going this way, we should be good.
That's so clever.
And it was like too warm actually. I wore it hiking and I had to take it off because it was too warm.
I want to be able to make the things that you guys are creating and designing,
Yeah.
but I have no idea where to start.
Yeah. Well, I am going to start doing crochet coaching. I do a little bit of it right now on the Crochet Network on Facebook, and I'm going to start offering my services just from me personally. like an hour session. I thought about doing group sessions. So if people have a few friends, we can all do virtually like this. So I've been hosting this how to crochet in 3 days little series on the Crochet Network, and it's been fun. And we've had people from all over the world join us live, and we start with the very, very basic. We just even how to read a yarn label, what the basic pieces of the hook, what they're called, and then we get into we do 3 stitches. So that's been neat. So you can definitely join in that.
Yeah,
And,
I'll give it a go.
Yeah, I like to teach people. I've taught quite a few of my friends in person, and that's been fun, and they still do it to this day. So that makes me happy too. But I like the teaching part a lot.
Thank you very much for Tessa for being on the podcast. I hope you all enjoyed that episode. That was a lot of fun talking to Tessa. I really enjoyed it. In the episode, we talk a little bit about other projects I've been working on, one of which was the historic cooking episodes. We have recorded 4 episodes. 3 of them are out. The 3rd episode just came out quite recently, so you can also see the full episode and my behind the scenes. So the first episode we did a medieval stew. The second one we looked at a Victorian cheesecake, and the third one we did a World War II episode about sausage rolls. Each episode we look at the historic version and we cook that, and then I make a modern day version of that recipe as well. So yeah, we've got episode 4 coming out soon, and hopefully we should be doing a live episode as well. So would really like you to get in contact and let us know what kind of recipe you would like. I think it's going to be between the Victorian cheesecake and the World War II sausage roll. So get on their socials and kind of let them know what you would like to see. Yesterday, as I was recording this on Sunday, we went over to Birmingham because I went to go and get my first vaccine done. We just kind of made the day of it. Mocha was able to stay at our nice animal neighbours, so she was very happy playing with another dog and a couple of cats. And Joy and I went over to Birmingham, and we got to spend a couple of hours in Birmingham. Had some really nice coffee at 200 degrees, and we had a burger from Original Patterman. We had a lot of food that we didn't really need to have any dinner when we came back. And then we went to the vaccine centre. I got my vaccine done, and we also asked whether Joy could get hers done as well, because she's 29, so they haven't released that age group yet. But quite often they have people not show up, and they were able to slot her in as well. So we both got our vaccine done, and we got the Pfizer one. And today, Monday, is the day after, and I feel completely fine. I feel like someone's kind of punched me in the arm, but I haven't had any of the flu symptoms or anything. And Joy's fine as well. She's gone off to work today as well. So yeah, looking forward to getting the second one, and then kind of being fully vaccinated. But yeah, so I encourage you all, if you can get it done, if you get that email or you get that text, go and get it, because it's going to help. It's going to help us kind of get back into some kind of routine and normality. But those are the kind of updates from me. Voiceover Tom here. As I was editing this, I realised that the audio right at the end was I just couldn't use it, so I thought I'll just dub myself here. I'm just talking a bit about next week is the final episode, and I have Jessica Louise, who is a musician, and it was a really good conversation. I started following her because she started listening to the first episode with Kira, and I really like Jessica's music, so I just wanted to have a little chat with her, and she plays us out at the end with my favourite songs that she's released so far. So that's a really good conversation, and yeah, that is going to be the end of the season. I do have one episode that is a bonus episode that is going to tie in with the historic cooking episode. Stay tuned on my Instagram posts for a new project that I want to start working on, and I would love to get you all involved as well. Stay safe and have a great week.